Hello everyone, and welcome to the Ras Al Khaimah Art 2025 speaker series. From the traditional sounds of the deaf and oud to the beats of contemporary hip-hop, music in the Middle East has evolved significantly, much like in other regions, while continuing to bring people together. This panel celebrates the musical journeys, stories, and memories of Gulf-based artists, immersing us in the rhythm of remembrance. With that, it is my great pleasure to welcome you all to the Ras Al Khaimah Art 2025 Festival's annual speaker series. My name is Janan Farhat, and I work as a researcher at the Al-Qasimi Foundation for Policy Research, and I will be moderating our very first panel today. So, before we go ahead and begin, I would like to introduce our esteemed speakers for today. Our first speaker here is Ms. Sanas Sotuze, a Canadian pianist and a faculty member at the Canadian University of Dubai. Welcome, Sanas. We also have with us Ms. Maysa Kara, a Grammy-nominated singer-songwriter and artistic director at Berkeley, Abu Dhabi. Welcome, Maysa. Of course, we have with us my colleague, Mr. Ammar Ashar, singer, songwriter, and guitarist working at the Al-Qasimi Foundation for Policy Research. We also have with us today Ms. Ines Lewotz, a KHDA certified music educator and a professional flutist. And last but not least, Mr. Gael Hedding, a Grammy and Latin Grammy winning engineer, producer, and entrepreneur, also known as the executive director of Berkeley, Abu Dhabi. Welcome all. Thank you so much for taking the time and being here today. So perhaps we can begin with Sanas, and if you don't mind, I'll go ahead. So, of course, Sanas, you are an accomplished musician with performances across cultures and continents, ranging from Les Ballets Jazz de Montréal to the Abu Dhabi Music Festival. Looking back at your formative years, can you tell us about your earliest memories of music and how they inspired your career?
Hello, everyone. It's a pleasure to be here at the Ras Al Khaimah Art Festival. I grew up in a semi-artistic family. My dad was an architect and my mom was a chemist, but she was practicing piano when we were a child. So I got into music since I was a very early age in my childhood. And I started to receive education in music and classical piano. And I was really passionate about piano from very early age. I chose to be a pianist and play piano. I remember I used to skip weekends activity with family and just stay at home and practicing piano. So it was like something that I loved it so much. Then I traveled to Canada and also UK. I received my education in Canada and also at the Royal Academy of Music in London, UK. So it really got the experience to live with different continents, different countries, and also get familiar with different cultures, collaborate with many musicians, artists from different cultures and background, and really that expand my experience and also really redefine my career in music. Even though I was a classical pianist, but being able to collaborate with different musicians, different artists in different countries was really influenced my career up to now, and I'm really grateful for those times and the fact that I was able to have these experiences.
Thank you so much, Sanas. That sounds absolutely incredible, and I love that we have a lot of people who use different instruments on the panel today, so I think we can also reflect on so much of the international experiences. I know we have, Latin America, Europe, the Middle East represented here. And I wanted to turn from, of course, the Middle East to the other side of the Middle East and ask Maysa a question. So your Arabic version of White Rabbit for the Grammy-nominated American Hustle soundtrack was, of course, iconic. In your opinion, how do reinterpretations of classics help evoke nostalgia while creating something entirely new for your audiences?
I believe reimagining classics present an opportunity to bridge the the old and the new. They, of course, while preserving it, thinking about making sure that those reimagined classics are done in a way where you're preserving the original intention behind those classics, but they also expose the new generation to those classics, and it helps you as well. Sometimes it creates an opportunity to create cultural dialogues. In particular, in the songs that I've reimagined, and I started with the movie American Hustle, it allowed me to introduce the Arabic culture to the Western ears, and that was, I mean, revolutionary, especially at the time in Hollywood, and it has opened so many doors for me to collaborate with other artists who were very intrigued by the Arabic culture, from former members of Pink Floyd, David Bowie, Bob Seger, and recently with A.R. Rahman and Andrea Bocelli. And that's not to brag, but that's to say that once we open up kind of the door to collaboration, to innovation, to wanting to expose the new generation to things that we grew up listening to, there's so many more options to and opportunities to innovate and to recreate things that the older generation really loved and the new generation can also embrace.
Sorry, there's a bit of a lag. No, that sounds absolutely incredible. And American Hustle, I think, was nominated for
an Oscar and a Grammy.
Yeah.
And my song was, I think, it was the only song that was recorded specifically for the movie, and I got the opportunity to tour with the actors, Robert De Niro, Bradley Cooper, Amy Adams. I mean, the roster was really insane on the movie, and definitely was an honor and a great opportunity for me to kickstart my career after graduating from Berkeley.
Yeah, no, that's incredible. I think, especially as an Arab myself, I think it's great to see how we can really bring different cultures to the West sometimes. And as a marginalized community, especially in Hollywood, I think that's very, very important for us to do. So thank you for your contributions. Ammar, I turn to you, my fellow colleague. You have done extensive performances in both English and Arabic, such as those at Dubai's Expo 2020, Sikka Art and Design Festival, and cultural hubs like As-Sirkal. From live shows at prominent venues to intimate gatherings, how does the language in which you sing invoke different memories and emotions while you perform?
Thank you, Janan. Okay, so if you listen to different languages, each language has different tonality, different spelling, and when you hear songs in each language, it's all special. I feel like as a native speaker for some language, or as someone who's fluent at it and knows a little bit about the aspect of that language, you would feel more connected. But at the same time, like, for example, 2 days ago, I got a message from one friend sending me one song and telling me, it's an Arabic song, and she's a non-Arabic speaker, and telling me, like, I feel like I know the meaning of the song, even though I don't understand the word. Like, she was asking me if I can translate that song for her. So language, yes, it's very important. For me, I'm an Arabic speaker, and I write my songs in Arabic, and I sing in Arabic. So for Arabic, if I would talk about it, it's a very rich language. It has like around 12 million words, so basically there's a word for everything. So if you pick the right words and the right music, it would be, like, let's say, amazing. Mic is working.
Hello? We'll stick to the shared mic. Thank you, Ammar. I've personally attended some of Ammar's concerts, and I have to say, the Arabic music in particular moves me very deeply, and I feel your emotions while you sing, and it's really beautiful. So I encourage all of you in the audience to listen sometime. But yeah, thank you so much, Ammar. Ines, I have a question for you. So, with your extensive international and Middle Eastern performances as a European musician yourself, how has the musical culture of the region enriched or influenced your artistic journey?
Thank you, Jana. I came to Dubai in 2012, so almost 13 years ago. And lots of things has changed, but the first thing which I remember, I was really surprised to see a variety of different musicians and different kind of cultures. So music has it, Dubai and UAE has it all. You can meet Arabic musicians, you can meet Bollywood musicians, Western pop, rock music, blues, jazz festival, and of course the Western classical music. Also the location of Dubai, it's very central and it's a crossroad for many different cultures, which allowed me to discover the countries, neighboring countries, and their musical cultures. So whenever I travel, I used to bring a flute from the place where I travel. And I have now a collection of over 100 flutes from very, very different countries. I have ney from Yemen, I have a Nawari flute from Nepal, of course Bansuri from India. And to sum up, I believe it humbled me down and living in UAE and made me understand that music, it's much deeper than the classical music I studied and Western popular music I raised with. It made me realize that each culture has something to offer.
I think that's really beautiful that you collected flutes from every country that you've been to. That's amazing. I think it also speaks to your passion for the diversity of the kinds of music that people make from their own cultures and also music as it evolves with time, and we incorporate, what is it, techno into different types of music that are available. So thank you for sharing. Gael, having produced over 50 albums and more than 500 live shows, can you share a moment where you witnessed music creating unforgettable memories for an audience?
That's a great question, and first of all, thank you for having me here. As I look back at all these shows, I had to kind of think about a particular moment, and I think that there's, the first that come to mind are the ones that impacted me more directly. Like working for Justin Timberlake at the Victoria's Secret fashion show, or working with Janet Jackson for the Billboard Music Awards and shows like that with artists that kind of impacted me. But I think that one of the shows that, thinking about the impact on the audience, that left a long-lasting memory was actually a show at Berklee College of Music in Valencia, Spain. We were just talking about our campus there a moment ago. And we used to do the end of year concert on the reflecting pools of Calatrava City of Arts and Sciences. So the stage is on the water, right in front of the Hemispheric, which is this beautiful building. We had students doing projection mapping, a multi-act show. And the city of Valencia is also very well known for its fireworks. And somehow we were able to time the end of the concert with the fireworks. And it was really a memorable evening. You need to picture students that have gone through the very demanding process of going to study a master's program and being there with their families and seeing a fabulous performance ending with majestic fireworks. And so that's one of them that I keep in mind. And I think to also what I've heard so far with my colleagues here on the panel, it's also a place where cultures come together. And it's really nice to see how people that are from different nationalities arrive to a place that has also a very deep culture and are able to draw from that and bring that back to their work and their music. And a show like the one I just described, I think really brings all that together. It's the modern architecture, the tradition of fireworks, and then the music of all our students coming together to create an unforgettable moment.
And the students were the musicians?
Yeah, the students, yeah.
Oh,
the students
wow.
were musicians, yeah.
That's
and
amazing.
The parents are coming from all over the world to be a part of that, yeah.
That's incredible. Both youth in the making, musicians in the making, shall I say, and then their families supporting them. No, that sounds absolutely amazing and very beautiful, and I'm sure very, very memorable as well. I wish I could have been there, but maybe next time. How long ago was this?
So this one in particular was almost a decade ago. We actually went there recently for the 10th anniversary, and that was also a very memorable concert. Yes, I mean, for those of you that don't know Valencia or Berkeley's presence over there, check out the pictures. I mean, it's a beautiful, beautiful place. Yeah.
It definitely sounds like it, and I think if it stayed with you 10 years later, it definitely sounds like a very, very beautiful memory. Thank you. Senes, I come back to you. So your collaboration with the Western Eastern Divan Orchestra reflects your deep connection to cross-cultural projects. In your perspective, what role does music play in fostering cross-cultural collaboration, and bringing diverse audiences together?
I think, as we know, music as a universal language really is a powerful medium for the cross-cultural collaborations. And its rhythm and melodies, harmonies, these don't need translation, and it can communicate emotionally to people of different backgrounds and also be understood by different cultures and people. My experience with West Eastern Divan goes back to when I was in London studying at the Royal Academy of Music, and I got invited to participate in Spain with Daniel Barenboim, which is a great conductor in classical music field, and it really opened my eyes, and I saw music differently as a powerful point also in cultural diplomacy, and how musicians from different backgrounds would sit each other in an orchestra together and perform together and in harmony, and that was really influenced me since then, and the projects that I've took after that. So I mean, I'm a classical pianist, but I was always passionate to work with because of my Middle Eastern background. I work with traditional musicians of this region. I arrange music of Pearl Diver songs, performed at Abu Dhabi Music Festival. Also, I work with great jazz clarinetist Kenan Azmeh from Syria, and also lots of visual artists as well, and new media artists. I think I just got inspired a lot. Recently at COP28, I performed with visual artist Sasha Jaffrey, the music that is inspired by nature to bring awareness into climate change and our environmental well-being. Also, the music, the power of music is in its live performance. It's that's the power of music, and I believe that we have to keep it as its life, and brings through this live performance, music brings different communities, different people from different backgrounds together, and really they able to share experience powerfully together. And this is very important in the future of sustainability in society and the well-being of the society that we are living in.
Thank you so much, Sanaz. And I think that's very beautiful. With music serving as a form of cultural diplomacy, thinking about how people really do sometimes forget their differences through music because they feel the same emotions, and that is a very powerful unifier universally. And I love that you also brought up the power of music to inform and educate. And at the Al-Qasimi Foundation, we work in education a lot. And sometimes what we found is working with people through mediums that they understand is a better way to actually send a message across. And everyone loves music. So using music to educate, to inform, to raise awareness is so incredibly powerful and potent.
And for the past 2 years and 3 years that I'm working at Canadian University, also my goal has been trying to create a platform, performing arts platform at the university through panel discussions and concerts to really inspire the new generation and really, bring their awareness to importance of art and music, which is it's a very human element, and it will enhance our humanity, really.
Yeah, I'd like to remind our audience that we have Sanas from the Canadian University of Dubai, Mesa and Gael from Berkeley, Abu Dhabi, also a musical institution that teaches musicians in the making. Ammar, who works at the Al Qasimi Foundation, and we work quite extensively with both Emirati youth and also non-Emirati youth, and of course different members of the community. And Ines also works as a teacher of music.
At the moment.
Freelancer at the moment, KHDA certified. So we have a lot of educators. We have both musicians and educators on our panel today. Thank you so much, Sanas. Mesa, I wanted to ask you a question. So, as the artistic director at Berkeley Abu Dhabi, and given your work in bridging both generational and cultural gaps through music, what advice would you give young artists on drawing from their own cultural memories to create meaningful music?
Well, just taking 2 steps back, I just want to share that at Berkeley Abu Dhabi, our ethos is to truly empower and encourage artists from the region in particular to create, innovate, and also help define their artistic identity. We realize a lot that there are lots of great performers, but not lots of great creators, not great, but people that are afraid to actually give it a try. So part of the mindset that we bring is actually to encourage that and to help the musicians not to be afraid, and really highlighting that there is no right or wrong in creativity. Like it starts by you taking a leap of faith and trying to express yourself. And part of that expression is also connecting to who you are as a person. Like a lot of times we find artists that are very confused about which direction to go, what's the trend, who should I be, what should I do? And connecting to your background, to your culture, to the things that have actually impacted you, like the melodies that you grew up listening to, the rhythms that you are used to in your homeland. These are the stories that impacted you in your life. This is what defines you as a musician. And we have helped through a program that we have at Berkeley that is called the Pearl Program, that stands for Performance Artistry and Leadership. And it's a program where we help artists to become better entrepreneurs, but also we encourage a lot the creativity of their own original works. We've produced over 60 pieces of content, from music videos and songs, with one artist alone gathering almost over 10 million streams on Spotify. Numbers are not that important for us, honestly. It's more about the journey, but gaining success also inspires other artists to see and witness the trajectory of others who have made it, and that encourages more creative expression. So yeah, I would say encouraging connection to things that mean to you, and that is the key to being authentic, because ultimately when you say and you speak and you express yourself in things that mean to you, that truly define you, this is how you will connect genuinely with your audience.
Well said, well said. Yeah, I really like that. I think when we're talking about musical expression here, and also like carving a space for youth where they can grow their own their musical identity, connect it to their cultural identity, and kind of represent that through their music, that is, I think, the key to connecting both with audiences here but also abroad, and to even humanize us as people across cultures. So that's very, very deep. Ammar, come back to you. So you've written several songs that were featured in series like Shahid Plus, and of course you are a songwriter. So in your songwriting process, how much of your own cultural memories and identity seep into your compositions, particularly when you're aiming to connect with an audience emotionally?
Thank you so much. Okay, so I'm taking Maisa's mic this time. So simply speaking, before talking about the cultural side of song writing, but as a songwriter, like I think Maisa is also a songwriter, so I think maybe we can relate to the same thing. But when you start writing a song, it's not about only connecting with people, it's about connecting with yourself as a start. So it's about the feelings that you have, whatever these feelings are, then you take them, you amplify them, then you pour them into a song. So let's say it's about like making some kind of perfume. So you take this sense of an essence, and then you put it, and then you put the right ingredients, and this is how you get the song. Culturally speaking, as Maisa has mentioned before, so it's about like what songs, what music you grew up with, what songs you used to listen to, what music that used to affect you. So all these, maybe let's say, it makes the frame of the painting. it makes like this unique frame of the painting. The painting is still yours to make, but it still have like these guidelines that guides you writing a song.
Do you maybe have, let me ask you a quick follow-up question.
Sure.
Do you maybe have a song where you could give us an example of the songwriting process and how that played out in practice?
Okay, I can sing a song for you, maybe, but I don't have my guitar with me right now. But when I write songs, I don't usually like sit like, now I'm gonna write a song. Like some idea would come up, maybe I'm feeling something, as I mentioned before, like there's a feeling you might be going through, and you feel like this is the way to express what you're feeling, or yeah.
Yeah, I think I understand that as a writer. I think because the premise is the same when you're writing for yourself or you're writing for others in music. I know that also a lot of your Syrian identity, I think, pours through in the music. It's very, very beautiful. So thank you so much. Ines, I have a question for you. So in a world where the value of the arts is questioned frequently, why do you think it's so important to offer music education in schools and music institutes?
Oh, well, there are like endless benefits of learning the music. But I think my favorite one is that music teaches you time management and discipline. And I think that's what the world is missing right now. With the culture, when we can get everything instantly, music is the passion which requires consistency and effort and work. So I think that's the value which music education can bring. The other one is that lots of studies has shown that it improves our health, our memory. I love this famous documentary, I don't know, probably most of you have seen, which is called Alive Inside, about one social worker who goes to the retirement houses and offers to the patients the personalized list of the songs. And suddenly people who were not able to recognize their relatives or even didn't remember their names, they can sing the entire lyrics of the songs they've learned when they were children in a very young age. And that just shows us the great impact of music, the great impact the music has on our life. And I think the most important is the music unites us. It's a universal language which brings us together, and it's a very essential part of every culture. And every culture, it's a part of our identity. If we want that or not, it is. We all grew up with different kind of music, and it's in us.
And for those haters out there, the haters of the arts, do you think that music can intersect also with some STEM subjects, perhaps?
Can you repeat the question?
Do you think that arts education can intersect with STEM subjects like science, technology, engineering, and mathematics?
I believe that music should be a main subject and should be used. Actually, it's a part of my master thesis that music should be a subject which is a tool to learn other subjects, right? Because even when you start your education, you're learning A, B, C, D, E, F, G as a song. So there are many examples when teachers involves music, not only as a song, as a form of song, but as a form of the rhythm of instrument playing. And it has a great impact and great value for the education overall. So I think it's a part which can't be missed and should be present in schools and workplaces as well.
If I may add briefly to that,
Please.
One of the key things that music education also does is help develop creative thinking, as well as the capacity to listen and improvise. And these are increasingly important skills to have in the currently evolving workplace. More and more companies are looking for people that have that creative background as part of their education because it gives them a different angle. So, kind of bringing it back a little bit to what we do at Berkeley, we see students of ours coming out, out of our programs, and in some cases going into industries that are not necessarily directly related to the music industry. We've got alums that are working for Tesla or, Google and such. And so there. I think one misconception is to think that a creative education is only focused on getting you on a stage, or in the case of other arts, being as part of an exhibition. But the reality is that there are so many different pathways that come after an arts education or creative education. I think there's a lot that needs to be done to raise that awareness. So for the haters, I would say don't, and take a look at the possibilities and the variety of pathways that people are able to take with those tools in hand.
I think people forget also that the Enlightenment preceded several industrial and other revolutions that also revolutionized and changed how we think about some of the subjects that are valued in some ways more than arts education, like science, technology, engineering, mathematics are sometimes presented in the mainstream society as the most important subjects, and that they are completely separate from the arts. And definitely arts education falls under the humanities. And as someone who pursued the humanities myself, people frequently underestimate how much of an edge that gives you, especially when everyone is coming to the workplace and all they know is how to solve maybe some math problems or some technical problems, but then they don't have that creative outlook of how can I use perhaps knowledge from other disciplines to creatively solve or approach this challenge.
If I may, it's
please.
also been really fascinating on the positive side to see that, especially in the GCC, that thinking is changing and that they're embracing a lot the arts and specifically as well music. And since we arrived actually with Berkeley Abu Dhabi, only within these 5 years we've seen a tremendous shift, and it's really been inspiring to be a part of that change. So and we're also, a lot of the things that we do is also creating awareness with the parents, because sometimes the kid is convinced but the parents are not. So it's also a very kind of, it's an area where we put in a lot of work, and until also we manage expectations of the time it takes for you to get better at this craft, going back to what you were saying, and yes, like this is also a way to teach students how to become more patient, and that is definitely a very good kind of asset to have in your life as we are not used to actually, we're very always anxious to achieve results. So it's a positive thing to see now and witness.
No, definitely. Thank you all so much. And I wanted to take it back to Gael to tell us a little bit about maybe what principles or philosophies of sound design you would emphasize for up-and-coming producers and sound designers who want to make an impression on the industry.
That's a fabulous question. I think that, and these don't only apply to sound designers or producers or engineers. I think at the end of the day, art is about communicating. So you have to be able to have clarity on what that message is. So if I'm putting myself on the side of, let's say, a producer or engineer that typically needs to be at the service of the song or service of the artist, it's understanding and having clarity on what that message is would be number one. Number two is really mastering the tools that allow you to achieve that. I think one common mistake that we see both with songwriters, musicians, and same thing with mix engineers, sound designers, is I know how to do all these great, cool things, and I'm going to just cram them into the piece of art because it's cool. And that doesn't always make for effective communication. So mastering the tools, but knowing how to do less in order to have a bigger impact. And then thirdly, I think it's understanding that you have to be really bad for a long time before you become good, right? So these would be the three things that I would share for up and coming, I think artists in general, but certainly when you're talking about engineers, producers that are more on the technical side, sometimes we don't think too much about the message or the piece of art. We tend to think it's a technical thing we just need to execute. And I think on the contrary, the successful sound engineers and producers are the ones that are able to really get that, and the fact that they're also part of getting the message across. So yeah, having a clear message, mastering the tools, less is more, and then lastly, you're gonna be bad for a long time before you're any good. And it's an ongoing journey rather than a single destination.
So patience is key, huh?
Definitely, consistency,
Yeah.
and consistency and discipline. It's kind of going at it, and eventually there's gonna be a good song. There's gonna be a good mix. There's gonna be and enjoying that process. Because if you're just going at it for the millions of views or the Grammys or the whatever, I mean, those are gonna come eventually, but that's not, that shouldn't be the main driver. You need to enjoy the process of doing. Yeah.
I like that you emphasize the importance of communication. And that's a skill that we work a lot with young people, and that's something that we notice is also lacking sometimes, that everyone is so impatient, and so many of the youth right now are struggling to develop the soft skills they need to succeed on the job. And music, of course, like many other fields, is a conduit to that. It takes consistency, it takes you knowing what you want to communicate, but also just working hard and being persistent in the process. So thank you so much for sharing that. We're approaching the end of the panel, but I wanted to ask a question to our speakers, and any of you can answer, or all of you, as you like. And if anyone in the audience wants to share as well, please feel free to raise your hand. Anyone wants to share a piece of music that always makes them feel nostalgic, no matter when or where you hear it? Or anyone in the audience as well. Feel free to raise your hand. So many, huh?
So many of them, yeah.
I can go ahead and start. I think I started listening to music probably when I was a teenager. But of course, in the car, my parents would put on Raghib Alame. If you know, you know. Raghib Alame, and for an English musician, I would say I grew up with a lot of Phil Collins. I'm not sure why. I think because Phil Collins dominated a lot of children's movies soundtracks. But that's definitely some very nostalgic music for me personally. Please.
I think, there's one particular song that impacts me, I mean, both musically, but mostly lyrically. It's Hkili from Fayrouz, by Fayrouz. Because I grew up in Lebanon, but I lived most of my life outside of the country, so it really brings nostalgia back to my time growing up in Lebanon and being exposed to Middle Eastern music. And an artist that also truly impacts me, because I feel like very much the music that I like to create it has a very similar kind of way of thinking, is Sting, because he always blends Arabic. He includes like different cultural instruments in the music that he creates. So a lot of the Sting's repertoire truly impacts me and influences my journey, I'll say. Yeah.
Thank you. Thank you for sharing. Yeah. Panel of musicians. You have to have something.
There are so many, as you all said, but I think for me, which is also always very nostalgic, is lullabies or nursery rhymes sung by my mother in my native language. That's something which stays in my heart. And later on, I've learned that it's a Gershwin music. I was always thinking it's a Polish, it's ours, it's mine. It's my mom's, she wrote that. But yeah, so I think those sounds which are really associated with a family, with a warm feeling, and where you grew up. So I would say this kind of songs.
Oh, I guess I'll go next. I grew up in Mexico, so pretty much any kind of old school mariachi song will do that to me. And then more particularly later on in my life, I really like two albums in particular. Mas and El Alma al Aire from Alejandro Sanz. I think he's a fabulous songwriter. Every time I listen to his records, it brings me back to my teenage years, but also there's always something to discover in particularly those two albums. Yeah, I guess it's the music. I just recently heard, by the way, that I don't know how true this is, but once you reach 40 and above, you can't really switch preferences in the genre of music that you like. And I think whether that's true or not, what I'm hearing is that whatever music you heard growing up tends to kind of stick with you and leave a lasting memory. And to that point, I think even reminiscing about last night here, seeing great musicians on this stage, and just thinking about, okay, these little kids that are here in the audience, how is that going to impact them, 10, 15 years from now? They might be at a panel like this, and they might say, when I used to go to the festival, I heard this or that song, and that's what I reminisce. So anyway, just a thought.
Thanks, Gael. Thank you all so much.
I can also share some
Please.
of my experience.
Yeah. Please go ahead.
Even though you're Polish, but my music of Chopin takes me back to my childhood a lot because I used to play a lot of that music at the piano when I was a kid, and also because of my background and my parents listened to Persian traditional music. I don't know if you're familiar with Shajarian. He's a very famous Persian traditional singer, and also, as Maisa said, my dad used to listen to Fairuz, so some of her songs bring me back to my childhood, and really evokes strong emotions in me. And so.
Thank you, Sanaz, and thank you all to all of our wonderful speakers. We're so used to seeing musicians singing on stage. Oh, we do have? Not singing? Yeah? Can we ask for a little demo?
Thank you.
احكيلي عن بلدي احكيلي يا نسيم اللي مارق عالشجر مقابيلي عن أهلي حكاية وعن بيتي حكاية وعن جار الطفولة حكاية طويلة احكيلي
Thank you.
May I ask, what was the song about?
Yeah, so she's
For
saying
non-Arabic
احكيلي-
speaking.
Yeah, احكيلي عن بلدي means like talk to me about my country. This is the place that she remembers even the breeze. She remembers all the little elements of the place that she grew up in. And then tell me more about my beloved
So that's
homeland.
Fairuz song.
It's a
as well.
Fairuz song, yeah.
Oh, beautiful.
Absolutely beautiful. We should have started this panel with the music to bring everyone into the fort.
It's always the best way to start anything.
Honestly. Lesson learned for next time. We want to do another musical panel, inshallah, soon.
They should sing now something in a native language.
Anyone want to volunteer? Ines? Oh, we
After
have,
Maisa, I don't think so.
perhaps we can ask you to stick behind then and regale us with your music. But for now,
Thank you. So talking about the song that makes you nostalgic, I got one song that got to my mind, which is actually originated from Latakia. يا مسافرة في البحر جاي ودعك حمل سلامي للهوى ودي معك لكن بخاف من الهوى مر النسيم قلبي بروح يوصلك ويودعك وصالك ويرجعك. Thank you so much.
Well, we want to say thank you to you, Jana, for being a wonderful moderator as well. We truly enjoyed the conversation.
Thank you so
and for
much.
connecting the dots between all of us and all the stories
I mean,
we're sharing.
for those of you in the audience, our panelists are actually very well connected. They know each other for a long time, and honestly, it was such a pleasure to host you all and to bring you here to Ras Al Khaimah. Thank you for coming to our festival and singing for us and also joining us for once as speakers and sharing your experiences. And I think I can speak for everyone in the audience and say thank you very, very much for your music and for your hard work in educating and raising awareness. So thank you all.
Thank you very much.
Thank you.